Y'all, buckle up, because the internet just got hit with a bomb that makes fireworks look subtle. This isn't news, it's a full-blown eruption. Calculated, relentless, and impossible to scroll past. 4 years, whispers crawled through hallways and DMs, glances said more than words, and truths hid under the rug. Now, Tasha K allegedly tore that rug away, revealing a secret so perfectly cloaked that even Kandi's inner circle reportedly had no clue. According to her, Kandi wasn't just keeping a quiet romance, she allegedly built a whole double life so convincing it fooled everyone. The claim? A long-running, behind-the-scenes affair with Coleman Domingo, a knotted maze of love, timelines, and cover-ups that reportedly leave your stomach in knots. This wasn't a slip. This wasn't petty gossip. Tasha K says it spanned years of silence, control, and truth swallowed beneath fame's shiny surface. And then came the bombshell that supposedly shattered it all. Riley Boris's origin story? Presented to the world as pristine, safe, untouchable. But behind the curtains, Tasha K alleges a darker tale, where the real truth about Riley's biological father was intentionally hidden. The name they were given? Allegedly a lie. And when whispers of a DNA report leaked, it didn't just shake the narrative, it obliterated it. Sources say the fallout was apocalyptic. Private chats morphed into fiery confrontations that reportedly shook family foundations. Riley, once shielded from the storm, was allegedly hurled right into it. Emotions? Explosive. Hold on. What you're about to hear isn't tidy. It's uncomfortable. And it was never meant for public ears. This is the type of revelation that crawls under your skin, sets up camp, and blows up without warning, allegedly every single word. In this world, secrets don't vanish. They fester. They linger. And for years, this one hid behind smiles, contracts, and meticulously staged silence. According to new allegations, Kandi didn't just hide a private fling, she allegedly armored an entire covert life. She allegedly orchestrated a full-on parallel existence. A years-long, ultra-secret affair with Coleman Domingo ran quietly while every other relationship played out like a perfectly scripted show. Not a slip-up. Not a casual whisper caught once. This was an emotional maze stretching over years, timelines tangling in ways nobody saw coming. Sources insist it wasn't sloppy, it was surgical. Every move calculated, appearances polished to perfection, private convos locked down tight. Insiders claim the truth almost peeked out more than once, only to be shoved back under rehearsed explanations. Fame buffed the edges. Allegedly, the secret endured because it was never allowed to crack. Then enters the most chilling twist. When Riley Boris was born, the narrative presented spotless, untouchable. A name, a lineage, a family chorus repeating the same story. The public bought it. But behind the velvet curtain, allegations suggest a far darker play. Tasha K now claims Riley's biological father was intentionally misrepresented, not by accident, but deliberately, to protect control, image, and a fragile illusion. If true, this wasn't just hiding an affair, it was rewriting a life from day one. Insiders say fleeting pangs of guilt surfaced here and there, quickly buried again. This lie didn't appear overnight, it matured, hardened, became ritual. Riley grew up believing one story while another waited silently to explode. Allegedly, the ticking clock hit with the collapse of a marriage. The end of Kandi and Todd's union wasn't just sad, it was investigative. When trust disappears, questions erupt. Allegedly, that's when documents appeared. A DNA report. Quiet at first, then impossible to ignore. Paper that laughs at fame, legacy, or image. Sources say the reveal didn't create chaos, it froze the room. Sometimes silence screams louder than words. Allegedly, the report named Coleman Domingo as Riley's biological father, shredding years of public narratives and private reassurances. From there, the fallout was unavoidable. Family reactions reportedly hit in waves, first denial, then rage, then disbelief sharp enough to cut. Allegedly, the revelations reportedly sliced through any remaining calm. Conversations that once felt warm allegedly erupted into full-blown battles. Affection supposedly flipped into accusations. And at the eye of the storm, Riley suddenly faced a crisis of identity no child ever signs up for. Insiders say the emotional weight hit instantly. Discovering your origin story may have been rewritten? That's not subtle, it crashes in like a freight train. Enter Tasha K. According to her, this wasn't some accidental drama. It was a trail she followed meticulously. She allegedly claimed a tip led her to fragments, messages, timelines, and documents that fit together too perfectly to ignore. The DNA report? Allegedly not hearsay, actual evidence. Once she felt ready, she made a choice that detonated everything. When Tasha K went public, there were no hints, no teasers. She dropped names, context, alleged proof. Boom. The family's most guarded secret? Thrown wide open. The fallout? Instantaneous. Social media didn't discuss, it exploded. Fans divided into factions. Some refused to believe it, calling it impossible. Others felt a cocktail of betrayal and clarity. Attempts to contain the fire allegedly failed. Behind the scenes pleas for silence, hopes that time would dim the chaos, all in vain. Secrets, once in the daylight, don't retreat, they scorch everything. The tension here isn't legal, it's pure emotional warfare. Everyone's under scrutiny in the court of public opinion, motives questioned, timelines dissected, every word weighed. And hovering over it all, if this could stay hidden for so long, what else is lurking in the shadows? Tasha K insists the story matters not for shock value, but because it's painfully human. Allegedly, it's about truths delayed and weaponized, a child growing up inside a story that wasn't hers, adult choices echoing for decades. Accuracy aside, the damage is undeniable. Reputations strained, relationships fractured, Riley's name entwined with controversy she never asked for. Fans argue the most heartbreaking part isn't the affair, it's the silence, the years where honesty could have prevented all this devastation. Devastation. And believe it or not, this is just part one. Insiders watching the fallout closely say more receipts could surface, more voices might speak up, and more contradictions are ready to crumble under scrutiny. What was once locked away is now exposed, and the light is revealing way more than anyone imagined. This isn't mere gossip, it's a cautionary tale about secrets wrapped in power, truths delayed until they can no longer be contained. And as this saga continues to spiral, one thing is undeniable, nothing will ever be the same. What came next, according to sources, wasn't chaos, it was collapse. Quiet at first, behind closed doors, where voices softened and trust quietly evaporated. Allegedly, the moment the truth couldn't be ignored, alliances shifted. Those who once protected the narrative reportedly started guarding themselves. Silence turned strategic. Statements were postponed. Every pause, every hesitation, felt calculated. Sources claim Riley didn't just question the story she was told, she scrutinized every memory tied to it. Birthdays, conversations, comforting words that suddenly sounded rehearsed. Insiders say the emotional weight wasn't just anger, it was grief. Grief for truth withheld. Grief for an identity built on omissions. And grief doesn't tiptoe, it crashes through everything. Allegedly, Riley confronted the people she trusted most, demanding answers that no longer came easily. Explanations reportedly fell flat. Words like protection and timing rang hollow against years of silence. Those close to her say the blow hit hardest when she realized the lie wasn't accidental, it was deliberate. Meanwhile, pressure on Kandi allegedly skyrocketed. Publicly composed, privately unraveling. Sources say that once the DNA revelation landed, there was no turning back. Every attempt to downplay it only fanned suspicion. Fans noticed the shift, interviews tightened, social media presence dwindled, and the deafening absence of denial spoke louder than any statement ever could. At this point, insiders say the scene resembled a courtroom with no judge. Every past interview became evidence, every old clip analyzed anew. Observers dissected body language, pauses, phrasing, everything. Confidence turned cautious overnight. Transparency? Allegedly staged. Timelines dissected, overlaps too precise to dismiss. And at the eye of this storm? Coleman Domingo. Silent. Distant. Unmoving. Sources claim his absence only fueled more speculation. No confirmations, no denials, just deliberate distance. In situations like this, silence becomes its own testimony. Fans debated endlessly. Respect? Legal caution? Or something far darker? That lack of response sharpened the narrative circling him. Tasha K, however, didn't flinch. Allegedly, she doubled down, claiming what she exposed was merely a fragment of her documentation. Messages, dates, conversations allegedly backing her story. She framed it not as scandal, but consequence for choosing secrecy over honesty, image over truth. Allegedly, her aim wasn't destruction, it was to reveal damage already done behind closed doors. Insiders say the emotional toll rippled outward. Family ties froze. Long-standing relationships stalled. People quietly picked sides. Riley, thrust unwillingly into the spotlight, allegedly struggled under the crushing weight of being the focal point. Fans reportedly noticed her distance, her restraint. Those close to Riley say anger eventually gave way to something heavier, resignation. Once a truth surfaces publicly, there's no private space to process it. And here, the tragedy deepens. Allegedly, the truth could have emerged quietly, years earlier, before identities hardened, before expectations locked in, before Riley had to reconstruct her origin from whispers and headlines instead of honesty. Sources insist the damage wasn't just emotional, it was structural, shaking the very foundations of trust and self-perception. The public rarely pauses for nuance. As the story spread, commentary turned merciless, sympathy tangled with judgment. Some defended Kandi, claiming survival in a ruthless industry demands impossible choices. Others condemned the alleged deception outright, insisting no success justifies rewriting a child's reality. By the hour, the debate intensified, sharper, harsher, unforgiving. Behind the scenes, sources. Alleged crisis management reportedly kicked into high gear, advisors, strategists, and carefully curated silence. But at this level, control is an illusion. The narrative moves faster than anyone can contain. Sources claim the volatility spiked because more people knew than publicly admitted. Whispers suggested the secret wasn't held by one person alone. Protecting it required participation, and participation spreads accountability like wildfire. Old acquaintances allegedly started speaking off the record, not to confirm, but to hint, to reference moments that suddenly made sense. Conversations that once felt odd now clicked. Alone, nothing was definitive. Together, a pattern too consistent to ignore emerged. Riley's alleged reaction? Raw. Sources say she didn't just feel lied to, she felt scripted, like a character in a story she never wrote. The fallout reportedly reshaped her relationships, her stability, and her trust in any narrative offered to her. When your own origin story is disputed, certainty crumbles, and still, no formal denial arrived. Silence became deafening. Fans waited. Commentators speculated. Days stretched into tension. In that vacuum, the story hardened, not as rumor, but as belief. Not because it was confirmed beyond doubt, but because it was never meaningfully challenged. Tasha K., observing the chaos, allegedly stated, "This is exactly why secrets are dangerous, not just because they eventually surface, but because of how they explode into daylight, publicly, relentlessly, mercilessly." As days passed, the narrative shifted from revelation to reckoning. People stopped asking if it was true. They started asking why it was hidden, why the truth was postponed, why the person most affected learned last. Those questions, insiders say, don't fade, they linger, heavy and unavoidable. For Riley, the hardest blow wasn't the public uproar, it was the private reckoning. The quiet, crushing realization that parts of her life may have been shaped to protect someone else's stability. This story isn't slowing down. As scrutiny sharpens, inconsistencies grow louder. Silence, once protective, now hardens into assumption. Allegedly, more voices are preparing to speak. More puzzle pieces are waiting to surface. Behind the scenes, pressure mounts like a storm about to break. What began as revelation has evolved into reckoning, a reckoning with truth, identity, and consequences. And as this drama keeps unraveling, one fact can't be ignored. The fallout isn't hypothetical anymore, it's unfolding live. The question on everyone's lips isn't what happened, but who knew, and for how long they let it slide. Sources tracking every move say what's next is a slow, unstoppable unraveling. Once who knew enters the conversation, every connection tied to the truth is under a microscope. Allegedly, private calls were made, explanations attempted, but explanations don't erase years. They just expose how meticulously those years were orchestrated. Insiders claim Riley hit her breaking point not from the revelation itself, but from what followed: the justifications, the soft-spoken reframing of deception as protection. Truth doesn't need context, it demands accountability. Those close to her say the emotional distance that followed was immediate and irrevocable. Allegedly, Riley began withdrawing from everyone who shaped her life's narrative, not out of anger, but survival. Trust, once broken, doesn't crash loudly, it erodes quietly. Conversations shortened. Visits became rare. The unconditional bond she once felt now felt transactional. Meanwhile, public pressure intensified. Commentators asked why no one acted sooner, why silence was chosen repeatedly, why a child's truth was postponed until it became a spectacle. The questions didn't single out a person, they challenged a whole system built on image and convenience. Sources allege Kandi felt the shift immediately, online and offline. Friends pulled back, support became conditional. The absence of a clear denial haunted every public moment. Every pause, every glance fanned the flames of a narrative no one could control. Then came the allegation that altered everything. Insiders claim Riley faced the gutting possibility that her entire upbringing was orchestrated to maintain a reality that wasn't hers. Sources say her reaction wasn't anger, it was mourning. Mourning a childhood shaped by omissions. Mourning conversations that never happened. Mourning the right to fully know herself. And here, the story pivots from scandal into full-blown tragedy. If these claims are true, the fallout isn't just reputational, it's generational. It shakes identity, belonging, and trust in ways no public apology can fix. A secret kept for years doesn't vanish when exposed, it morphs into a lifelong reckoning. Social media? It exploded faster than any healing could begin. Clips circulated, old statements resurfaced, and fans dissected every word, pause, and tone. Sympathy was selective, judgment relentless. In the court of public opinion, nuance rarely survives. People picked sides not based on facts, but on emotion, and emotion demanded closure. Behind the scenes, sources allege the strain peaked. Attempts to stabilize the situation reportedly failed. Once truth appeared, it demanded more truth, implicating more people. Whispers hinted at additional confirmations, never public, never denied, but palpable. Allegedly, the surrounding silence was deliberate, heavy, strategic. Tasha K, watching it all, reportedly refused to back down, framing the story not as a win, but as a warning. Sources say she stressed that revelations like this don't end, they echo. They follow families, shape futures, and leave scars invisible to outsiders. For her, it wasn't about reaction, it was about responsibility. Insiders claim the emotional toll on Riley continued deepening. She allegedly grappled with the realization that her identity had been negotiated without her consent, decisions about who she was made to protect stability over honesty. The betrayal, they say, wasn't loud, it was suffocating, heavy enough to settle in silence and alter how she viewed everyone around her. Fans noticed subtle changes, less engagement, more distance, a guarded presence that hadn't existed before. Those close to Riley say she wasn't performing grief, she was surviving it. And still, no clarification arrived. The absence became the loudest voice in the room. The longer it lingered, the more permanent the narrative felt, not because it was proven, but because nothing challenged it. In public discourse, silence rarely stays neutral, it solidifies, assumed, interpreted until it becomes reality itself. Sources allege this is when the story crossed from mere controversy into legacy-altering territory. Once a narrative embeds itself in public memory, confirmation is no longer necessary.